Part 1. She left me for her lover? But got a lawsuit instead. Hi everyone. I'm Aaron, 30 years old. My whole life, I've known that most people only stuck around me because, as they said, I was a trust fund kid. They thought I'd be the type throwing wild parties around the world, buying rounds of drinks, and living off my parents' money. But when they realized I wasn't that guy, they'd just disappear. Yeah, it's true, my parents did leave me a massive trust fund. But I also know how hard they worked for it. It didn't appear overnight, and one bad decision could have destroyed everything my father built. So I've always worked hard, every single day, to keep it alive and grow it further. Still, I almost made a mistake that could have ruined everything. That mistake was named Ashley, my wife. Ashley was 28, and back in college, I wasn't dating anyone. I wasn't into casual hookups or meaningless flings. I always wanted to date with the intention of marriage. But once rumors spread about my family's wealth, I became a magnet for the wrong kind of people. When you have money, you suddenly become popular. People want to be around you, but only to live off you. Sure, I lent friends money sometimes, maybe paid for drinks at parties, nothing crazy. I believed helping people a little was fine, part of being a decent person. But I rarely trusted anyone fully. Then came Ashley. We met at our graduation party. She seemed unaware of who I was, and we just talked, naturally, easily. We clicked instantly. I asked for her number, and for our first date, I took her to McDonald's. And it was perfect. She didn't care that the date wasn't fancy, and I fell for her right then. Ashley became my first love, funny, smart, and real. With her, I finally felt like someone saw me, not my money. After a month, I introduced her to my parents. She wasn't shocked by the wealth. She just smiled politely and seemed comfortable. I thought that meant she didn't care about the money. That she loved me for who I was. What I didn't realize was that her calm reaction wasn't surprise, it was strategy. She already knew who I was, and she was already playing her game. My parents adored her. She was elegant, charming, and said all the right things. We dated for a year, and she never once accepted an expensive gift from me. When I asked why, she'd just say, "We're not married yet." It wouldn't feel right. That made me fall even deeper. A year later, I proposed. My parents were thrilled. At dinner, Ashley said she had only one request. Please don't ever ask me to quit my job. I want to work, I want to contribute to what your family built. My mom hugged her and said she was proud that I'd found such a strong, independent woman. Ashley worked in IT and made good money herself. On our second anniversary, my parents threw a big party. They even announced that they were adding Ashley to the list of beneficiaries of the family trust, right alongside me. That night, she met Rob, the trust manager, a middle-aged accountant who worked for the law firm that handled our family business. Rob was married, with a wife and a daughter. Everything looked perfect, if on the surface. For years, Ashley got along great with my parents, with Rob, with everyone. She was the perfect wife. Always charming, always smiling. But what I didn't know was that she and Rob had been having an affair behind my back. Every business trip Ashley took? Yeah, she wasn't alone. Looking back, I can't believe how blind I was. At family parties, I'd often see her laughing with Rob, blushing, touching her hair. I thought nothing of it. I was madly in love, and she knew it. She was a professional actress, playing the role of perfect wife flawlessly. For 7 years, she waited. 7 years of lies. Then my parents passed away, both of them, within 6 months. I was broken. I buried myself in work just to survive the grief. And that's when Ashley finally showed her true colors. She grew cold. Distant. Didn't talk about my parents, didn't ask how I felt. At first, I thought she was grieving in her own way, so I gave her space. 2 weeks later, I decided to come home early from work, with flowers, to finally talk to her. But when I opened the door, I ran straight into Rob. He had suitcases. So did Ashley. She looked at me and sighed, like she was inconvenienced that I caught her. Then she said, "Oh, crap. I wanted to do this quietly. Leave a note or something. But I guess I'll just say it now. I'm leaving you, Aaron. Rob and I are going to Italy. After that, I'm moving in with him. Don't look so shocked. Your parents made sure I'll be fine financially. Anyway, these flowers for me? Thanks. I'll take them. Ciao." And just like that, she was gone. Part 2, his wife showed up at my door. And we planned revenge. When Ashley walked out, I felt nothing. Not anger. Not sadness. Just this heavy silence, the kind that fills every corner of your home when someone rips your life apart. I didn't call her. Didn't text. Didn't even cry. I just stood there, surrounded by the ghosts of everything I believed in: love, loyalty, marriage, and realized it was all fake. Days passed in a blur. I barely slept, barely ate. And then, one afternoon, the doorbell rang. When I opened the door, a woman stood there. Blonde hair, tired eyes, holding a photo in her hand. It was Rob's wife, Sandra. She looked straight at me and said, "You're Aaron, right? The husband of Ashley." I nodded. "Good. Then we need to talk." She came in without waiting for an invitation. And honestly, I didn't even stop her. She sat down, opened her bag, and took out a folder full of printed emails and hotel receipts. Then she said, calm as a surgeon, "Your wife and my husband have been screwing around for years." I tried to ignore it. Tried to believe his lies. But when I saw the money transfers from your trust account, I knew. I froze. "Wait, what? My trust account?" She nodded. "Yeah. Rob's been helping her move money, slowly. Small amounts. Just under the audit threshold. Always for investment or to consulting. I've already spoken to my lawyer. But I figured you should know before you get destroyed financially too." That's when something inside me snapped, but not in rage. In focus. I looked at Sandra and said, "You want revenge?" She smiled for the first time. "Absolutely." And right there, we made a plan. Sandra had access to Rob's work files, emails, and his personal cloud. I had access to Ashley's trust documentation and bank records. Together, we had everything we needed to burn them, legally. Over the next few weeks, we met secretly. In coffee shops, parking lots, even her car sometimes. Sandra was smart. She used to work in HR before quitting to raise their daughter, so she knew how to find evidence without leaving a trace. Piece by piece, we built a case. We found hotel invoices under fake names. Plane tickets. Encrypted emails that Rob thought no one would ever see. And then, the bombshell. A set of forged documents showing Ashley's signature authorizing Rob to move part of the trust funds into a private offshore account. That was fraud. Serious, criminal-level fraud. We sent the evidence to the family's law firm. They were furious and immediately froze all trust payouts to Ashley. Rob was suspended pending an internal investigation. When Ashley realized what happened, she called me for the first time since leaving. "Aaron, what the hell did you do?" I said nothing. Just listened to her panic. "You can't do this. That money is mine." Finally, I said, "No, Ashley. It was never yours. You just borrowed it while pretending to love me." Then I hung up. Within a week, Rob was fired. Sandra filed for divorce. And I started to feel something new. Not love, not yet, but peace. The kind that comes when the storm finally starts to fade. Sandra and I stayed in touch. We'd check in on each other, talk about life, grief, healing. She was kind, funny, and brutally honest. She even joked once. Maybe we should send our cheating exes a thank you card. Without them, we'd never have met. We laughed for the first time in months. And that's when I realized, sometimes, the people who break your heart accidentally introduce you to the ones who help you rebuild it.
Part 3, Karma finally hit them, and we watched it happen. Months passed. I focused on work, therapy, and rebuilding my life. Sandra did the same. She was stronger than I'd ever imagined. Meanwhile, Karma began doing its quiet, patient work. Rob's firing became public. His professional license was suspended pending investigation for financial misconduct. No law firm wanted to touch him, he was poison. Ashley, on the other hand, thought she could outsmart everyone. She hired a new lawyer and tried to challenge the trust freeze, claiming I was manipulating her inheritance. But when the court saw the forged signatures and wire transfers? Yeah, that case didn't last long. She lost everything, not just the money, but her reputation. Turns out, fraud doesn't sit well in the corporate IT world either. She was fired. Her accounts were audited. And she was forced to repay part of the funds she'd borrowed. Sandra and I didn't celebrate. We didn't need to. Watching karma unfold was satisfaction enough. One afternoon, Sandra called me. "You might want to see this," she said. She sent me a photo, Rob, sitting outside a cheap motel, alone, eating takeout from a paper box. He looked nothing like the confident, smug guy who once thought he could have it all. Ashley wasn't with him. Apparently, she'd left him too, once the money disappeared. Guess loyalty only lasted as long as the luxury did. A few weeks later, Rob was officially convicted of embezzlement and banned from financial practice for life. Ashley, meanwhile, filed for bankruptcy. The world moved on without them. And me? I finally felt free. I sold our old house, the one she decorated, the one filled with fake memories, and bought a smaller place near the lake. Quiet. Peaceful. A place that didn't feel haunted anymore. Sandra visited sometimes. We'd sit on the porch, drink coffee, talk about life. It wasn't romantic, not at first. It was something better, real. No games. No lies. Just two people who had survived the same storm. One evening, as the sun set over the water, she said softly, "Do you ever wonder if we deserved all that pain, just to find this peace?" I thought for a moment. Then I said, "No. I think we earned it." We sat there in silence, just listening to the waves. And for the first time in years, I felt like my life, my real life, was finally beginning. Clapperboard epilogue. A few months later, I got a letter from the law firm. The trust was being fully restored. They thanked me for exposing the fraud and protecting my parents' legacy. I smiled. Because I knew they were proud, wherever they were. As for Ashley and Rob? The last I heard, Rob moved out of state, working odd jobs. Ashley's social media vanished. Maybe she changed her name, trying to start over. But deep down, I didn't care anymore. Some people chase money their whole lives. And end up broke in every way that matters. Me? I lost everything. And somehow, found myself again.